Hey, so thank you for joining us tonight for our Reaching Your Potential, Overcoming Debt, and Moving to Financial Freedom bucket. We are more than just debt, and yet everyone seems to accumulate it. And so we're going to go through some money basics, how to get out of debt, and then how to actually move past debt onto the freedom category. And so I'm going to work on sharing my screen here and going through this. So can you guys see, did the screen change and you can see my little bio here now? Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you. And so my name is Colleen Tatum. I'm actually in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, and I work in Canada and the US. I've been with 2 years with this company. Previously, I actually owned an automotive business with my husband. I know more about cars than I ever wanted to. And it wasn't something I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But I don't know if you've ever been like this. It's like you make money, you get comfortable, you spend more of your money, you get comfortable. And so that income I was earning was security for my family. But, we're gonna get into kind of my story in a minute, but it got bumpy. But I'm so blessed to be with this company now. It gave my family a second chance. I am building an agency in Canada and the US, over 30 licensed agents. I'm a shareholder in Experior and a silver legacy owner, which means my family is totally protected, which is really phenomenal. Something I did not have in my automotive business. It was like, on paper it was worth a certain amount of money, but then we went to sell it and you can only sell it for as much as people can buy it. So we weren't big enough that a big company would come and buy us out, and that's not really what happens in automotive. But we were also too big for a little, someone trying to start their first business. We were too small for them to buy us. So what happened is we realized, on paper we were X, but in real life we were Y. And so that's why I love our company's legacy program, because it has provided my family with a different level of security. So I am an insurance and investment broker. I work with an IMO or an MGA in Canada and the US that is called Experior. We actually opened in Canada. We're the first Canadian company to ever expand to the US, which makes me super excited because I don't know, it's always the Americans coming over to our side. I am actually part American. So I grew up in Canada. So I spent all my winters in Canada and my summers in Texas, which is the opposite way of the way that I recommend it. But I am really proud that we're a Canadian company that moved into the US and we are exponentially growing right now. When I started with the company 2 years ago, we had like 3,000 licensed agents. We have over 10,000 now, which I'm so proud of. So the next step here is we've got 4 reasons why people fail financially. Number one is no education. I don't know if you were like me, but I did not learn about money in school. The only thing I actually learned about money was that it wasn't something we should talk about. It wasn't something that we should, aspire to almost. I did learn in school, though, how to write checks, and so that was really helpful. Number two is we have no plan. So that was me and my husband. We really didn't have a plan. We just went out and made a bunch of mistakes and tried to fix it later. And hopefully, more people don't have to fall into that bucket. Number three is no coach. And so a plan without a coach often goes unfollowed. The coach is who comes in and helps keep you on track. Even big giants like Kobe Bryant, as good as he still had a personal coach, Tim Grover. And so having a coach to come alongside you and help kind of toggle your ideas off of, see, is this the right thing? Is this the right track? That coach becomes really, really important. And number four is money mindset. Our underlying beliefs around money quite often dictate what is going to happen in our money. So we're going to go through some of those tonight and try and unpack it a little bit. But that's where people like me come alongside and try and help people get their money organized. So if you are having financial stress It is super widespread. Like a lot of people are in this bucket. You might feel like you're alone, but you are not alone. Okay. It is super common for people to accumulate debt. 88% of Americans experience some level of financial anxiety. 65% say their money is their top source of stress. And 41% report that financial worries have seriously impacted their mental health. If we think of addictions, if we think of abuse, if we think of fighting and divorces, a lot of it comes from money struggles. And so many people find themselves in debt after an illness, a job loss, a divorce, or another major event. What happened to me is in 2016, wildfire actually wiped out about 30% of our city in a matter of hours. We had to evacuate over 100,000 people. We had to leave our community and we weren't allowed back. I wasn't even allowed back into the area where my house was for 6 months. So there was no income. But you know what happened? Did the bills stop? They did not stop. And so I had to continue paying the mortgage. I had to continue paying the car loan. I had to continue paying all these things. And yet I had no income. So I hope that you never have to go through a major disaster like a wildfire. But a lot of times we still do see job loss, illness, divorce, these major events that put people in divorce or in a debt. Most people do not say, oh, I'm just going to be frivolous. I don't care. I'm just going to rack up a bunch of debt. I don't want to pay these bills. Most people do not want to live like that. They want to be financially moving forward, but some sort of life situation throws us off the rails. And so if you're in that bucket, you're not alone. And also, we understand potentially there's a story behind why you are there. In Canada, we are no better. We like to follow our big brother, the US. A lot of times we've got a ton of debt in Canada as well. We've got total household debt in Canada is over $3 trillion. Our debt to income ratio is 174.9%. So what does that mean? That means for every dollar that a Canadian earns, they owe $1.75. Household debt is huge, and that equals us having less money to save for the future. This is why we see over 74% of Canadians and Americans ending up at retirement age with less than $100,000 saved for retirement. I don't know about you, but I don't want to work my whole life and then hope that the government takes care of me or hope that my kids take care of me. But because we're dealing with so much debt, our savings rates are so low, there's a huge gap. In America, pretty much the same. Average household debt is over $100,000. Debt payments represent over 11% of their income, and the average savings rate is just 6%. So there is hope. There is things that can be done, okay? Number one, kudos for watching this because you've taken that first step of reclaiming yourself from debt if you do have debt. We're going to cover tonight money mindset and how it contributes to your debt, how you should create a little budget, like what's the foundation for that, some debt elimination methods or strategies that you could use, and then finally, how to move from debt elimination to financial freedom. Does that sound good for anyone? You can put a 1 in the chat if you're watching and you
Sounds
would
good.
like to have financial freedom. I love it. Okay. So money avoidance. This is the belief that money is bad or corrupting. This is very wildly held that money is bad or evil even. People think wealthy people are generally greedy or unserving, right? This is the idea that every rich person got there by some cruel act. And that's just not the case. Financial self-sabotage happens a lot. A lot of times they're under earning because they almost repel or they won't accept a higher paying job because they really believe that money is bad. So why would I want to accumulate money? And oftentimes it shows up in neglecting financial planning altogether. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't know how much money they make. They don't know what's in their bank account. They just completely, absolutely avoid it. And maybe it's because I'm a woman and more ladies come to me, but a lot of ladies that come to me, it's their husbands are like, they don't want to talk about it at all. They're like, they don't have a clue. It's probably because I'm a lady, so more ladies come to me, but that's what I see a lot of. Number two is money worship. The belief that money will solve all your problems and bring you that happiness. Of course, having money helps, okay? Let's not pretend that having money doesn't make things easier because it does, but it also doesn't bring you that fulfillment, that deep happiness. And this often shows up like, I'll be happy when, I'll donate when. Well, when is when? What you do with little, you will often do with lots. So if you don't donate or you're not generous now, you probably won't be later. We've all met these people that also don't have money, but they're also sometimes some of the most generous people. They're so giving and loving. So the money isn't the factor that's deciding if they're a generous person or not. Sometimes it shows up like compulsive spending, workaholism, chronic dysfunction. Like it doesn't matter what happens, they're unhappy. They never have enough. Everything is bad. Everything's out to get them. They equate their self-worth with their net worth, and they tend to overspend or choose the flashy things because they're trying to exaggerate the appearance of wealth. They think other people only like or value them if they have this appearance of wealth. The next one is hypervigilance, like so tight. No matter how much money they have, they never think they should spend it. To me, it shows up like they never feel worthy enough of spending money. They're so cautious, they're so scared, they're so hyper vigilant. Sometimes I've met people where they say, I've never invested because I was so scared to lose money. But if we're not investing to retire or investing to get ahead, we just literally don't make enough money to save enough money to retire. Inflation is always eating the value of our money. And if we're not investing to outpace it, we are actually losing money by default. So it's so funny that when we're so scared sometimes to invest, we actually get the thing that we're scared of the most, which is losing money. Um, this also shows up. Oop, I went the wrong way. This also shows up in many, many different ways. You know, I always look at my grandma. She grew up in Ireland. They were very poor. And it was like whenever you would give her a gift of something nice, she would put it away. Right? I'll save that for later. I'll save that for later. She would never use the nice things. She would use the raggedy towels and the raggedy sheets and all this kind of thing. Even though we had given her nice stuff, she would never use it. And I remember so clearly as a child, she passed away and all of that stuff was still in the closet. And so I've always tried my best to use the good stuff. I use the china, I use the stuff because I do deserve to use that stuff. We deserve to have the joy of the things in our life, and we deserve to have nice things. So, understanding your money mindset can help you recognize patterns that might be holding you back and can empower you to rewrite your financial story. This is a quote here from Brad Klontz. It says, money is a tool. Used properly, it makes something beautiful. And used wrong, it makes it a mess. And that is the truth, because if I'm a jerk, I'm just going to do more jerky things if I have more money, right? And if I am a good giving person, I will also give and be good more. I will be able to help more people. Thoughts and prayers are really great, but writing a check is also pretty special. So number one, we're going to make a plan. Okay. So we need to have a budget. We need to establish a baseline. So number one, you need to list all your income. So if you have multiple sources of income, you need to figure out how much money you make. A lot of times I do ask people, how much money do you make? And they say they don't know. I'm like, is there so much money in your bank account that you don't know how much money goes in every month? No, it's usually the opposite. They're avoiding it, right? And so we need to figure out how much income do we have? What are we actually taking home? And then I want you to list your non-negotiable expenses. So this is your housing, your food, and your loans. You have to have those things. We can't cut your housing, okay? Now, I want you to review your expenses to see what can be eliminated, what can be reduced, what's left. Do you need all of the streaming services? Or could you get maybe an unlocked device of some sort? Do you need to have a cell phone every single time a new one comes out and then you go on a new payment plan? Probably not, right? Have you reviewed the costs of those subscriptions? Have you gone into your iPhone and seen what you're paying for that you don't even realize you're paying for? Every single year, as much as it sucks, I always go through my phone, my internet, and my phone bill because oftentimes I will get like every year I save money. So I find out what is everyone's offer and I write them all down in a little chart. How much data do they give me? What's the monthly cost? La da da. It takes, a couple hours, but I usually walk away either renegotiating my bill with my current provider or finding a better discount somewhere else that my current provider won't match. And so we've taken our phone bill, let's say from $150 a month for me and my husband to like $30. We just do that every year. We double check, right? And so even looking at your insurance costs, this is where a professional like us comes in. The first thing I do when I work with someone is I look to see how much are they spending on the insurance? How much are they spending on their mortgage? How much are they spending on some of these things? And is there an opportunity for us to help them save more money? Number 4 is review what needs to be added to your budget. Do you have life insurance? Do you have living benefits or critical illness insurance, disability insurance, so that if something happens to you, you at least have something? You might not be able to afford the plan that you really want, and that's okay. We're going to get to that later, but you darn well should have something because if something happens to you and money is tight now, imagine how tight it's going to be when you can't work because you're ill, but your bills have not stopped. You need to pay yourself first. You need to establish an investment account, an emergency fund account. You have to pay yourself first. Tomorrow or later often never comes. It's a day that never arrives, right? You have to start now with a number and then grow it from there. I actually challenge you to do it the opposite way. Pick a number that almost scares you to save it. Because sometimes people will say, well, I just want to start with $25 a month. $25 a month is not going to get you there. And then we don't change it fast enough. You just get used to, oh, I'm doing 25 bucks enough. It's good enough. And then we just never increase it. So I challenge you instead, once you've got your expenses, once you've got your income, pick a number that on paper looks like it should work, but that kind of scares you a little bit. Save it for 3 to 6 months in just a savings account and then see if you're okay. You will often adjust to that new budget. Just like if your boss said to you, I'm sorry, you're getting a pay cut tomorrow, that's 30%, you would just have to figure it out. And so challenge it because you can always take some back out of that bucket if you need to, or you can adjust it. You're like, okay, 500 bucks a month was not really working, but we can probably actually do 400. So paying yourself first is so important as part of this budget process. Now I want you to track your spending for 3 to 6 months because you're going to go off course. You're going to find things that you missed, and you're going to also find places that you overestimated, that you did really good in, and that you can actually like adjust that, move your budget around a little bit. So track what you're actually spending, right? That Amazon button on my phone sure is easy for me to spend money. So sometimes you don't realize it. You got to track that spending for 3 to 6 months, please, and then you're going to retweak. Um, this again, I recommend you to get a meeting with like an expert, someone like us, to be able to help you with all of this because often we see things that you don't see. And that's a free financial analysis that we do because we want to help you get ahead. I want to help you get ahead. At the end of the presentation, you'll have an opportunity to raise your hand for that, okay? Number two, now we're gonna go into eliminating debt, okay? There is a couple ways that you can do that. You can do nothing and never become financially free, okay? You can do a consolidation loan, which, let's be honest, for most people is not a realistic option because you've got a lot of debt. No one's giving you a loan if you don't have assets to secure it against. It's very difficult. Oftentimes, studies show that people get a consolidation loan, will get a consolidation loan, and in a couple years, they have a consolidation loan and all the debt is racked back up because they never changed the fundamental spending habits. So be very cautious if you're going into that option. Credit counseling. So credit counseling, especially in Canada, is actually paid for by credit card companies. So that can tell you a little bit about maybe the quality of the credit counseling or the ultimate goal there. But credit counseling for some people can work. They're going to help make sure that you pay your bills and they're just going to kind of help and coach you along. So it can somewhat reduce your debt, but not significantly. Bankruptcy obviously is an option. If you're considering bankruptcy, please do talk to a debt specialist first that has a lot of different tools in their toolbox. Because if you're talking to a bankruptcy specialist that only does bankruptcy, you are very likely to end up bankrupt. And maybe there was another option that they didn't bring up. So, bankruptcy sometimes is the only option, but let's just talk to a credit specialist to make sure that that is the option that you should go with. And then in Canada, there's consumer proposal, and in the US, it's a debt settlement, and they have a little bit different rules. And then there's also something called the snowball method. So we're going to look at those last two options a little bit more in depth, okay? You don't need to know all of these. I just want you to have a high level because our debt specialist team is the one that's going to actually help you evaluate which one is really going to be the best for you. They're going to tell you, they're going to go through your numbers, they're going to go through your income, they're going to give you recommendations and not just rail you into something, okay? They're going to help you decide which pathway might be the best for you to get out of debt, okay? Now, a consumer proposal debt settlement. Let's look at this a little bit more. So, qualified people can possibly reduce their debt 40 to 75%. This is an actual reduction of debt. Absolutely going to help reduce stress and help you give hope for the financial future. Sometimes you just have so much debt, it's just not really realistic that you're going to suddenly make enough money to get out of it, okay? If you can't pay that off even after you've done your budget and you've added extra income, maybe you've done stuff, maybe you just have to say, we just need a restart, and that's okay. And so they will actually negotiate your debt for you. They'll take care of it all. They're going to counsel you on what the rules are, what happens to your assets, what happens to your credit. They're going to help you with all of that. And they can also sometimes assist with rebuilding your credit after the process starts, okay? Now, there is some different rules, like I said, in Canada versus the US, and we'll look at that a little bit. And there is translators available if you're working with any of our debt providers. They do have some translators. If you maybe are a Spanish speaker, you're probably not understanding what I'm saying, but maybe you know someone then that only speaks Spanish and you feel more comfortable in that language, we will hook you up, okay? So this is what it looks like in real life. So this was a woman that had many, many, many different credit cards. She also had a consolidation loan in there. So the consolidation loan people were like, yep, we'll give you a consolidation loan. We'll see how that goes. And, we know how it goes. She ended up with a consolidation loan and a bunch more cards racked up. So her payments before the debt settlement were $14.83 a month. And it would take her 10 years at least, and that would cost $177,960 of interest. So after the debt settlement was put in place, her monthly payment was $610, and she would end up paying $34,000 over 4.8 years. So that means her monthly cash flow was freed up $873 a month. $873 a month is a significant amount of money for any family. This case was a lady with children, a single mom. So like this is life changing not just for this lady but for her children. This is what this is about. This isn't just always, oh, you should pay your debt. We know that things happen sometimes. Who knows what the situation was? But this is her kids being able to get new clothes when school happens, right? Every kid at least deserves a new outfit when they go to school. They're worried, they're concerned about this, whether they should be or not, that's another story, but this is a reality for our kids, right? This is maybe the difference of her kids going to sports or not going to sports. This is the difference, $873. Think of the quality of groceries that she could buy for the family now, instead of all of that money going to just debt before. This changes things fundamentally for people in such a big way beyond just debt on a page. This is really important stuff. And I'm sure the mental health of this mom was drastically, fundamentally changed. She's saved over $143,000 of just interest payments. Now maybe she could actually think about trying to save for retirement and have proper life insurance and all those other kinds of things that are so, so important. And so debt restructuring or debt settlements or credit counseling, all these different things, it's a tool to help you live a better quality of life. That's what it's really about. It's a tool to help you live a better quality of life. And sometimes things happen and we're just under it and we need help. In Canada, you would need to have $10,000 of unsecured debt or more. So unsecured, so not a house or not a car. And you can do different debts like credit card, line of credit, payday loan, income tax bills, collection items. Student loans, sometimes there is restrictions on how long the student loan has been in place, things like that. Mortgage shortfall after sale, some legal claims. And once the proposal is filed, it does give you some legal protection depending on the situation against, let's say, garnishment or different things that may be happening in your life. Okay. So a debt proposal in Canada, $10,000 or more of unsecured debt that you just realistically can't get out of with other methods. And again, the debt specialist will sit with you and talk it out specific to you and help you decide which of these might be the best option. Okay. In the US, minimum debt of $7,500. And so that could be high interest online loans, payday loans, unsecured lines of credit, again, credit card debt, credit unions, collections, repossessions, medical debt, and private student loans could be considered. Now, aside of those options, you could also perhaps do a snowball method. So what a snowball method is you just saying, all right, we're going to do this a little bit differently. Sometimes people are paying minimum payment and then they're paying $50 extra on this card and $80 extra on this card. And they're just like throwing money all over the place on different cards. And we don't really have a plan. Okay. A snowball method is like, let's make a plan. The plan is we're going to list all of our debts from smallest to largest. We're going to pay the minimums on all of them except for the smallest. So the money that we were paying extra all over to these other cards, we're now going to put all of that onto the smallest card. And we're going to pay that one off first. Then we're going to take the extra that we were paying to that card and we're going to apply it to the next smallest card or debt. And we're going to continue doing that until we're debt free. It seems too simple, but what it does is it gives you a psychological win, so you're more likely to stick to it, but the methodology works. So what we see is, in this example on the screen, the person has about $73,000 of debt. Their minimum payment was $1,695, and their time to pay off would have been 18 and a half years. They would pay $58,000 of interest. Now, if we did the snowball method, like I just explained, they would take it down to 12.2 years to pay off the debt. and they would save $16,000 of debt. They saved $16,000 of debt. That's money that can go to their vacation, or that's money that can go to their TFSA or their Roth or their investments or that whatever it is that they need to do in their life. $16,000 is a big deal. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to add $100 a month to the payment. We went out, we got a side hustle, we found $100, okay? Now our monthly payment is going to be $17.95. We're going to do the same snowball method. It's going to take us 10.4 years to pay off now. So we've shaved off about 2 years by doing that. And we've saved $21,000 total. If we added $500 a month, what does that look like? What if we took our debt and we found $500 somehow? We started babysitting or dog walking or selling stuff. I don't know. We went through a meeting with one of us and we found $500 in your budget. We applied that to your debt. 7.5 years, guys. They paid off their debt in 7.5 years. And they saved $30,000 of interest by adding $500 to the debt in this example. And what if they did 1,000? They would actually pay off their debt in 5.9 years. And they saved $37,000 of debt. $37,000. So just to recap, in minimum payments only, it was going to take them 18.5 years to pay off their debt, and they would have paid $58,000 of interest. With the snowball method and $1,000 extra, they paid off their debt in 5.9 years and saved $21,000. Now you might be listening and saying, where am I going to find $1,000? So we're going to talk about that, okay? But this is powerful. It really can work and help you get out of debt in such a significant way. By freeing up debt, it allows us to get things like proper protection. It allows us to invest properly for retirement. It allows us to help other people more. Remember, if I'm a generous person and I like helping other people, I can help them more if I have more money. And it frees you up mentally, which I think is such an intangible benefit, but absolutely affects your relationships, absolutely affects your health. It allows you to start dreaming again. Maybe that's a trip with your family. Maybe that's giving your children education. For us, my son is really into basketball, so I take him to this crazy basketball camp every year. Last year, we went to Utah for a week, and he did this really intensive basketball thing. And this year, we went to Tennessee for a week. So he stayed in the Tennessee Chattanooga University dorm for a week, and he had like it was super intense. I didn't know if he was going to make it. It was started at like 7 in the morning, ended at like 11 at night. He did this for a week. It is not cheap, right? We've got to fly from northern Alberta, Canada to Tennessee. I've got to get a hotel for a week. He's going to go to the program for a week. It's not cheap, but it's because we got control of our income and our debt that we are able to do these things for our family. So what dream is your debt stealing from you and your family? What dream is your debt stealing from you and your family? So a free consult with our debt team will help you determine which one is best. We're going to go through your specific situation and help you determine, should I do a snowball? Should I do a consumer proposal? Should I do a settlement? What should I do? They're going to help you figure it out, okay? But what also if you could be the person that adds $1,000 a month to your debt? What if you could do both? What would that do for your family, right? So how are you going to find that extra $1,000 though? Okay. Well, you can sell some stuff, but at some point you're going to run out of stuff to sell. You can find ways to lower your bills. bills. We're going to please do that. You don't need to be paying the cell phone bill or the cable bill any more money than they need, okay? So you're going to go and negotiate. You're going to see what's on the market. What are the offers? And you call your cell phone company, you ask for retention, and you negotiate. And if they won't negotiate, you go somewhere else. You build and stick to a budget. Remember, one of the ways that we fail financially is not having a plan. Okay? You need a plan. You need a coach. We're going to help you with that. We're here to help you each step of this way. We're going to high five. When this is all done, we're going to be besties, okay? You could start a side hustle so you can walk dogs. You can babysit dogs. I pay $50 a day for my dog to not go to a kennel when I go out of town because I want my little baby to be like in a house, sleep. He's this really great gal. He sleeps in bed with her. She sends me little pictures. Like she makes good money when I go on vacation, just taking care of my dog. You can clean houses. You can babysit. You can collect bottles. You can do a lot of things, a lot of side hustles out there to make legit money. You can drive Uber, whatever it takes, okay? You can also, if you see a fit, become a referral partner or a licensed agent with our team. You will own your own business. With our firm, we pay 2 to 3 times more than other financial companies. We give you ownership from day one. You can earn shares in our company, and we have a legacy program. I would, of course, get you all the more information on how that really works. But for me, it took me about a year to become a shareholder and get legacy and do all those things. It allowed me, by moving to this company, allowed me to retire my husband from our automotive business that was literally destroying our marriage. It made all those things possible. Was it uncomfortable? Was it hard work? Absolutely. I started a business, right? I started a business. But was it worth it for me? Absolutely, yes. Now, can you make money doing this? This is what it kind of looks like, okay? Let's say you're in the US or Canada. The numbers are similar, but a little bit different. They're paying $100 a month for life insurance. If you're a starting out agent where you're like an apprentice, basically, a trainer would be with you every step of the way. They're the one actually doing the plan with the person, teaching the person, and you helped us set up the appointment or however that took place. Okay, so you're like an apprenticeship to start out with. From that policy, you would make $840. If you were an executive director like myself, you would make $1,440. If you do that 4 times a month and you're an executive director like me, you would make $5,760. Not bad. You can also do investments, and you can also earn income from referral solutions. So there's a lot of different ways for us to earn. Our referral partners can actually earn money on providing debt solutions, on providing mortgage solutions or referrals for home and auto insurance, and a lot of different things that can really help people. You can earn income from day one in doing that. Now, we encourage you to get a license as well so that you can actually do everything that we do, but you could be earning income as soon as tomorrow, okay? And we're gonna help you like an apprentice each step of the way. The residual income that you build in financial services is what really attracted me. I looked at other things when I wanted to leave my automotive business. I looked at, do we start a different business? Well, I didn't want to pay millions of dollars for equipment to start up again. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go get a job. I didn't want to go back to university and hope for a job. That wasn't an option for me. I had bills to pay, right? That income that I was making was security for my family. I looked at real estate. Well, kind of flexible, but if someone wanted to show a house or write an offer on a Sunday night and I was hanging out with my kids, I would have to go write the offer. So real estate was like, kind of better. Then I looked at how much it cost to get a license. It was like $5,000 to get a license. So when I looked at financial services, I could get licensed for under $300. I could start making money, but with referral products right away. And I would build residual income. Financial services has a residual income component baked right into it. When we have a client, we get paid something called trails and renewals. So we get paid a little bit of money as long as that person is still our client and we're doing a good job for them, right? We're going to do an annual review. We're going to make sure that they're taken care of. The company is going to pay us a little bit of money every year to do that. So we're going to build up residual income. If you have $1,000 of residual income a month, that is the same as having $240,000 invested earning 5%. When I looked at it, I was like, pretty good. If you got $5,000 of residual income, that's like having $1.2 million invested and earning 5%. And $20,000 of residual income is like having $4.8 million invested for you. I was like, I cannot save $4.8 million probably in my probable likelihood of my lifetime at this point. Probably not going to happen. But I could see, because there was proven examples of people doing it in our company, doing good work for people, helping people with their finances. There is proven examples of people making $20,000 residually and more. So I'm on my way to building that. I've got a nice little residual income started. And I'm in a position to, again, do those things like basketball camp for my son. So it might not be a fit for you, but it is an option. We are always looking for good quality people that want to help people and they can earn income doing it at the same time. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, if you keep doing what you're doing, where are you going to be in 3 to 5 years with your debt, with your assets, with your investments, with your quality of life? You can continue as is and maybe give up on your hopes and dreams. Maybe never feel financially secure. Or you can challenge yourself and make a change. Change is never easy, but you just got to decide, is it worth it? So option number 1, you can learn how these debt solutions and strategies work for your own situation. Get that free consult. We would love to go through that with you. We're going to be very happy to do that with you. Option number 2 is starting in our part-time training program. You're going to find a way to earn that extra $1,000 plus whatever a month to pound away to your debt. Or option number 3 is do both. Whatever you choose is totally okay. We still love you. We're still rooting for you. If you are in Canada, there is no ownership agreement fee in September only. In the USA, there is no ownership fee ever. But in Canada, there is. And for September, we said, okay, guys, let's go. Let's go. Let's help more people have this opportunity. And so we've suspended the agreement fee in September only, which is normally $150 to sign an ownership agreement with our company. And so if you want more information about that, happy to share that with you as well. I'm going to give a survey link next. So if you're watching on Zoom, you can scan this. This is just going to give you a chance to give some feedback about the event and to raise your hand if any of those things you want to talk about more. That's your chance to raise your hand, okay? For doing this survey, I'm going to give you a bonus money mindset quiz so that you can try and unpack that with yourself a little bit better. Because for me, at least for me, I really realized going through a lot of personal development training, and that time after the wildfire was the most difficult time of my life. But I'll tell you, it was the time that I grew the most as a person because I turned to resources that would help me learn about myself. I turned to my faith. I turned to ways to figure out what was going on psychologically, even that I didn't cause a wildfire, but like there was things I could have done to be in a better position for that event, if that makes sense. And so I would never wish that on my worst enemy, but I also wouldn't be in this business if that fire hadn't happened. And so in a way, I am really thankful. I would not be who I am today without going through that. So this debt that you have right now is just part of your story. You can use it to help other people later on if you want to, okay? You don't have to. But if you're thinking, Colleen, I want to get out of this, I want to help other people, it can be part of your story of you helping other people eventually. your story can help people feel like there's hope, and then we can help them get there. So, if you're on Zoom, you're going to scan that. I'm also going to put a link just in the little chat in case it's not working. If you're watching on TikTok, I'm also going to do that in just a second with us. I'm going to post it there for you guys on the TikTok as well. If you're watching there, I'm going to post that. Um, Let me see. Kathy on the Zoom says she has a friend who sold her cleaning business and started pet sitting business. I mean, really, right? Like sometimes we like I have a person I worked with before and they had a dog walking business and they made like really good money. And you know what? Not a bad life. Not a bad life, right? Sometimes remember those money mindsets, right? Sometimes people are like, "Oh, I want to be what do you do for work?" "Oh, I'm a cleaning business. I'm a pet sitter." And people poo-poo on it. But you know what? Maybe it's really fulfilling for you and you can make a lot of money doing it potentially. Okay? So don't hold yourself back because potentially other people might judge it. No worries, right? Everyone's got to be on their own journey. As far as I know, unless they're going to be paying for your retirement in the end, who cares what they think, right? Who cares? Unless they're footing that bill, they got no right. We're too concerned about what other people think so often, and then we die. And did it even matter? No. So let's find some joy in our life while we're here. Let's do the things that bring us joy. Let's get out of debt. Let's move beyond this. And let's start to actually be financially empowered and start to do some cool things in our life and start to feel like, yeah. Okay, I'm going to move over to TikTok. If anyone's with us still, I'm going to put in the chat. I'm going to try and put in the chat a little comment with the link so that you can fill it out. If for some reason I can't get it to work and you are on TikTok, please just send me a little message and say, hey, I want to fill out the survey. I will send it to you, okay? Because for some reason I cannot do it. So I'll try and do it again here in the chat. If you're on TikTok, please just send me a message and I will send you the survey because it's not working for me. Let me see if I can do it. I'm gonna reply here. Let's see. I might have it working. Might have it working. You have to listen to me sing to find out. Oh no, it didn't save. Alrighty, so I put it in the Zoom chat there. Everyone that's in Zoom world, grab that survey out of the chat, and then I'll play with TikTok longer, and I'll hang out. I'm gonna hang out on TikTok for a little while longer. So if you are on the Zoom and you want to pop over to TikTok and chat, that would be cool. I'm at Money Matriarch on TikTok. But regardless, I thank you so much for joining us. It means a lot to me, and congratulations and kudos to you for taking the first step in empowering yourself and saying, no more. I'm not living like this anymore. Okay, so high five to you all. Thank you so much for coming. I'm just going to turn my camera off and my video off, or my voice off, in case you need to grab that survey out of the chat still. But if you need to leave, I'm not going to be offended. We're done. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you, Colleen. That was so awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I'm heading out, and you took a lot of you did great work on that. I can tell that you took a lot of time. That was just truly eye-opening.
Yeah, I did. We did it, right? I wasn't in my groove earlier. It didn't record properly, but that's okay. It was just us earlier, pretty much. So we did it, and it's
Mhm.
good. And I appreciate you being here so much. So, and the recording is going to be great. So we can
It
send
is.
that out to anyone that missed. We can put the recording up, and that'll be great.
Okay. Well, thank you so